Jazz trade for Russell Westbrook, and are they trying to? It's been something that a lot of people have talked about over the last few weeks, and I can tell you, having spoken to sources around the NBA over the last couple of days, it certainly sounds like the Utah Jazz are not trading for Russell Westbrook. That ship has kind of sailed, and I think there is some, I wouldn't say bad blood, but from what I've been told, the relationship between Rob Pelinka and the Utah Jazz is not exactly great, as the Lakers thought they had a deal done. By some accounts, I was told the Lakers thought they had Bojan Bogdanović and Malik Beasley from the Lakers. Whether Mike Conley was in that trade or not, it is up for discussion. But there was thought that the Lakers had a deal done that centered around Bojan Bogdanović and Malik Beasley, as well as a draft pick coming from the Jazz. And the Lakers were willing to include Russ and 2 first-round picks. And for some reason, Danny Ainge didn't execute that deal. Now, I've also been told that the Lakers are the one who said no, and the Lakers, as I've been told, are telling people the Jazz said no. But what I'm sure of is the Lakers and the Jazz are not currently talking about a Russell Westbrook deal. In fact, I've been told that the Indiana Pacers are the only team that has shown significant interest in acquiring Russell Westbrook, but that deal would likely have to take place in December because of where Indiana feels like they are. So, no, the Utah Jazz are not trading for Russell Westbrook at this moment. Jake, are you happy to hear that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Utah Jazz are a team that, has obviously gotten off to a really nice start here and are in a positive position. And I think even though, you did lose your first game, I think overall you're in a great position. And I think that I just don't see the logic in buying out Russell Westbrook. I don't understand what you're looking for there, why you would do that. I mean, obviously you would be asking for, picks in that deal, of course, but I think that I just don't know that it's worth it. You're in a good position financially. Your situation with your draft picks, while they're not ideal, obviously they're workable. So, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade for Russell Westbrook. And it really has nothing to do with the on-the-floor stuff. I mean, that's just very surface level to me. I think it has everything to do with the financial commitment and where he's at in his career, because the next place he goes, because there will be another team he goes to, it could possibly be his last deal. It could possibly be his last contract with how he's played, unless he figures out how to start shooting it at a high rate again and how to get his game back. But that, to me, is what the most baffling thing is, that his game has just disappeared. So, today's Russell Westbrook, no, I wouldn't trade for him at all.
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem for the Lakers right now, and I actually think at 0-3, they are one of the most shocking teams in the NBA, and frankly, their inability to get a deal done this summer, I think, has really handicapped them. But if you're the Utah Jazz, I think you're in a position now where there's no reason to make a deal at all. I think you have to let this first half of the season play out and then do your bidding in January. But the next 2 months, I think, are all about letting these guys find their role and allowing these guys to really become, a team. And one of the things that I think is so interesting is that I actually don't believe that Russell Westbrook could report here. I don't think that Russ could play for this team. I do not think, and I don't know what you think, but I don't think Utah Jazz fans would welcome Russell Westbrook. I think he would be consistently booed here. I don't even know that MVP caliber play from Russ or getting back to triple-double Russ would bring Jazz fans along. I just think that relationship is fractured.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's got his fair share of history here with the fans. That's no secret, and I think that, Russ is obviously a fiery guy and someone who really gets after it on the floor, and I think that, I just don't think that Salt Lake is a great fit for him overall. I mean, we saw the reaction to Donovan Mitchell when Don did some things off the court and was advocating for certain things. And I think that, Russ is not a good fit in Salt Lake. It's not. And to me, if they wanted to acquire Russ, they'd only be doing that to buy him out and pick up the picks. And I also think that right now you don't want to mess up a good thing. I think, obviously you're 4 games in or whatever it is now, and you're 3-1, and you're back home at the Viv again to play the Rockets again tonight. And I think that, you just have this nice sort of, momentum and culture kind of building itself in that locker room. It's nice to see the cheering after the game and the excitement and the fun that these guys are having. So to me, it's just I just don't know why you would wreck that. I feel like Will Hardy did a great job in the preseason and sort of building this roster and really bringing these guys together before camp even started. Camp starts, regular season starts, and they're off to a flying start, and everyone's surprised by it. So that's my thing. Like, I just don't think that if they did this deal, that they would even. I agree with you. I don't think they'd ever even put Russ in a uni. I think that they would just buy him out, send him on his way, and he can go play. He can go find it in free agency. That's what I think would happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what you say about that. Like, I think it's one of those things where you have to figure out somehow, some way. If you are the Lakers, you have to figure out somehow, some way how to get the most out of him.
Yeah.
Because I think the guy that they're more likely to trade is Anthony Davis. I was talking to a guy last night. And the Knicks have shown a lot of interest in Anthony Davis. And I think Anthony Davis is a real problem for the Lakers because he's been so injured and he has been so inconsistent for them. And yes, they won a championship, but I think a lot of people are over Anthony Davis in Los Angeles. And I actually think Anthony Davis is the bigger problem. Russ is what he is, right? He's a $47 million player that's disappearing for you after this season. The problem with Anthony Davis is you are tied to Anthony Davis. He is supposedly the guy that's going to replace LeBron James as your franchise player. Yet, from what I understand, people in the front office in LA don't believe that anymore. And I think what you're seeing is that the Lakers are going to be open to discussions on Anthony Davis. And I would not be surprised to see him change locations because I think Anthony Davis is the bigger problem for the Lakers. Russell Westbrook is going to handle himself.
Right.
He's either going to play better or he's not going to be here after this season because he's on an expiring deal now. So he offers you a tremendous amount of cap space. Is this Laker team built to win a championship? Clearly not. But to go back to the Utah Jazz side of this, you're not clearly in a place where you want to help the Lakers or you'd have made that previous trade.
Obviously.
I still maintain Danny Ainge only traded Bojan Bogdanovic to Detroit to put a thumb in the Lakers' eye. That's the only reason you would make that trade instead of making the deal with the Lakers. And now it's worked out tremendously well. Kelly Olynyk's been a good contributor over the first 4 games. You're 3-1. You feel like you're in a good place. And the Lakers are in the cesspool of the bottom of the NBA. And I think I actually think it's a real problem for the NBA that they're this bad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a problem that they're bad. And I think for to go a layer deeper with the Lakers, I think, it needs to be said, I'm not a LeBron guy. I never have been. I respect what he's done.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's obviously one of the greatest of all time. I'm not interested in the, who's the greatest of all time. I just think LeBron is in that group of guys that, revolutionized the NBA and did some things. And I think that for his sake, he's got to get this figured out because imagine the concept of LeBron retiring as a Laker and his last 3 to 4 seasons were like this. That's a terrible way to go out.
Oh my
and
God.
frankly, whether you're a LeBron guy or not, the guy deserves to go out a little better than this. And I think that, LeBron needs to find some guys who can stay healthy and who can make a basketball shot. I know that seems novel. I'm not even being sarcastic or tongue-in-cheek or anything. Russ legitimately, and Anthony Davis is struggling too, but this is more about Russ, can't make a jump shot right now.
It's incredible.
And I don't know how you explain that because I remember, when I was, mid-2000s, Russ was a complete savage for Oklahoma City. Could knock it down from 3, was posterizing people, everything you wanted in a basketball player. Russell Westbrook was that guy. And typically, NBA players don't just forget how to shoot a basketball. Usually, they'll lose their legs a little bit, they'll lose athleticism, they'll lose explosiveness as they age, but they can still remake themselves inside of their game because they can shoot the mid-range. They can, it's like what Chris Paul does now. It's like what Kobe did as he aged through his career and became much more of a finesse skill player than a posterize you kind of guy. It's like what LeBron's gone through. LeBron has definitely turned into more of a, finesse guy who plays in the mid-range and can still bully a little bit. That's usually what you see, but Russ now is become a guy that is just the ball goes to him and you know it's a miss. And now people are putting together highlight packages where one camera's on his teammates, one camera's on Russ, and you can see how frustrated they are shooting the ball. So that's what I'm saying.
Because he's shooting right now. Russell Westbrook is shooting 8%.
That's what I'm saying.
From three.
It's toxic, bro. And the whole thing about them shooting, I think it's like 22% from three as a team. Like, okay, that doesn't even surprise me. You can win in this league without being a prolific three-point shooting team, but that inherently then means you have to be a prolific defensive team, which they're not either. So that's why
they're shooting 21% from three.
That's why I say,
goodness.
you're like the Utah Jazz, as they're currently constituted, would give the Lakers everything they could handle and a little bit more. And that's embarrassing.
Oh my God, and they're giving up 35% from three.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're not playing defense. You can't shoot from the field or from three at a proficient rate. And so my point just is, when we talk about should Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz trade for Russell Westbrook, well, yeah, sure, I guess you could do the trade, but I don't think you should. And even if you did, he wouldn't suit up for you because of what he's done. So that's why I say, I think, to the conversation we've sort of been having about where the Jazz are at right now, I think they need to just chill right now. I think they just need to play games right now. Let this Westbrook situation play out with Indiana. And then at the deadline, see where Mike Conley's at. If Conley's had a great first half and he's healthy and he's got a lot of value, maybe you look at moving him. Maybe you look at taking advantage of him while he's still got value. If not, then you stand pat and you wait for the draft. I mean, that's where I think you are.
I mean, looking at some of the numbers, Anthony Davis is actually off to a good start, 24 points a game. But, I mean, it's a precipitous fall. LeBron's 27 points a game. Anthony Davis is 24 points a game. Then it goes Lonnie Walker at 15, all the way down to Russell Westbrook at 10 points a game. And I just don't know where you get, how do you win games when LeBron's your best three-point shooter at 25%? I mean, Anthony Davis is making 20%. Man, that's brutal, dude. They're not and somehow, some way, that's allowed to go on, and Rob Pelinka, their general manager, got a contract extension.
Yeah, well, and I think that the tough part is, and this is kind of where all the GM jokes come in, but I'm not really joking about this. I think it's very difficult on a LeBron James team to have a ton of control, because LeBron, we all know, Rob Pelinka wanted DeMar DeRozan.
Yes.
Not Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
But they wound up with Westbrook. How did that happen? LeBron stepped in. So I think Jeannie Buss understands that dynamic and understands that LeBron's not going to be here 3 years from now, probably. Maybe even less than that. So to me, it's okay, Rob's not really doing a bad job. The Anthony Davis deal, like it or hate it, was worth it because you won a championship. And
but if you're not going to listen to the guy, what good is it?
Well, but so here's the thing, and this is where I think Jeannie kind of goes a little bit awry. So when it was the Kobe era, Jeannie could always listen to Kobe and understand his leadership style, and it always worked out. You always knew you were going to get to the playoffs, and you were going to grind it out, and you were going to have some level of success. The problem is Bron hasn't done that quite yet, the same way Kobe did it. Bron is much more of not a hard ass. He's much more of a player's guy. He's much more of a team culture guy. And I think that Jeannie is just trying to let this iteration of the Lakers sort of run its course, and then they will figure it out. But the problem
but how important is it for them to be good?
I think it's really important.
The Knicks, Celtics, Lakers, I think the Bulls to a lesser extent. I think Golden State's back in that conversation, although that debacle last night. Did you guys see that? My guy, the single best shooting guard in the history of the NBA.
Your guy.
My guy.
Right.
Devin Booker.
Right.
Dominated Golden State last night. And I have to tell you, I mean, who's surprised? Who's surprised? Who's the man now? I love that Klay got ejected. And hey, bro, and this is my biggest concern with Golden State.
Yeah.
My biggest concern. It's cool you guys have all those rings. They don't win you games.
It vexes me.
They don't. Klay Thompson got ejected last night, and he starts pointing to his finger, and, hey, that's cool. They ran your ass off the floor last night. Now, it's the regular season, and all that matters is what you do in the postseason, and Book hasn't performed in the postseason. Klay Thompson has. They've got 4 rings. I get that. But at some point, the arrogance of the Golden State Warriors and this ridiculousness with, people like Draymond Green and bro, at some point you've got to actually get back to winning games. And you want to talk about dysfunction, and I'm not saying they're bad, and I know that's Chaboys in Golden State. I know you love that club, but I'm telling you now, there is dysfunction there that's going to hurt them this year.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that the Draymond stuff is just getting started. I'm sure that there's going to be, obviously, he's going to get technicals and he'll get ejections and he'll do what Draymond does every year. And I think that Jordan Poole is only getting better, and they're going to have to figure that out. And I think that Klay just had enough of Book last night.
Listen, you're going to have to say it.
No.
What do you mean no? You don't even know what I'm going to make you say?
He's got to perform in the postseason, dude.
God damn it. He doesn't. He is dating a Kardashian, so he will never perform in the postseason.
That's enough of that crap.
He will never perform in the postseason. No. As long as he's got that Kardashian,
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Kardashian curse? Because I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, man.
Anybody want to ask Kanye about the Kardashian curse? Anyway, the point is, let's see what you guys have to say. Good morning. Appreciate you guys being here. All of our Jazz talk on this show, as always, is brought to you by our good friends at TryDayTrading.com. Have you ever wanted to be a day trader? Have you ever wanted, and are you today thinking about how much you hate your job? How much do you hate your job? Again, yesterday we were hanging out with some folks, and somebody asked me about Tri-Day trading. It's legit. Absolutely. And I don't know why so many people are scared of the stock market, because it's a way to make yourself some money. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty right now. Watch the free webinar. That's all I'm asking you to do. Not asking you to reach into your pocket. Don't have to put a card on file. Just watch the free webinar at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Trust me when I say you will not regret it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, how about our good friend and my LinkedIn connection? Yeah, Lemma Harrington and I are connected on LinkedIn.
There you go.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Lemma Harrington here. I've been in the broadcast business going on 30 years now. And after that amount of time, you start to be able to pick some winners. I want to share a winner that I'm aware of with you, and that is my guys at Tri-Day Trading. They're going to teach you how to trade, and then they're going to let you trade using their money and then split the profits with you. That's a pretty winning deal. If you want to register for a free webinar, all you have to do is go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. So for more information, it's TryDayTrading.com/Monty. We'll see you there.
There you go.
My personal friend. We are close personal friends who've never met. Lemma Harrington knows well that TryDayTrading.com is legit. It's a great way for you to make money. And as he said, there's really no risk for you. You're going to go through the TryDayTrading.com/Monty program, and you're going to trade with their money, not yours, until you're ready to rock and roll. And when you make money with their money, they split the profit with you at Tri-Day Trading. By the way, it is Jazz and Roque tonight. How about the number on this game? -6 for the Jazz. Okay, they're at home.
Right.
232.
Yeah, well,
200
against the Rockets.
I said 232 points and a half. Points.
Right.
232, 116 points per.
Yeah.
Is that what we're? That's a huge number.
Well, two teams that are, in my opinion, everyone always says, "Oh, well, the Jazz are great defensively."
I said 232 points.
Yeah, dude.
You're supposed to be wowed by that.
I'm not. It's the Rockets and Jazz. They're going to put up points.
Roger Sales says, didn't LeBron insist on getting Westbrook? He did. In fact, he did. Very much he did insist. Troy Cushing says, good morning to the two best sports talks in Utah. Well, thank you. With Hardy type of plays by spreading the floor, Westbrook could be really good off the bench, exploding to the hoop. Thoughts? I just think culturally he's not a fit here. Yeah. He's had so many run-ins with Jazz fans.
Yeah.
The racial overtones of those run-ins, the heat, the vitriol. I mean, basketball-wise, I'm telling you, and you said it earlier, but I'll say it again, the next team that gets Russell Westbrook, I think, is going to get a much better player than we're seeing in L.A. a much, much better player than we're seeing in LA because he's not nearly done. I'm telling you, Russell Westbrook can still play in this league at a very high level, in my opinion. I don't think that's in Utah.
Yeah, and I just don't think that there's a reason to bring his situation into this locker room. I don't think that you need to you need to put that kind of strain on the room and like try to figure out, how that's going to work, and is Russ going to come off the bench, and like just all the drama with it. I feel like you have, your leaders on this team are humble. Like what?
You're perfectly framed up now.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
That's great. Thank you.
What? I was trying to make you look good, and trust me when I say that's difficult.
I know.
I mean, look at your face. How am I going to make that look good?
I know.
That was a you
guys ever want to kick it?
You're ugly. That was what it was.
No, I know that was an ugly joke. I get it. Yeah. Right.
There you go.
I understand.
Okay, let's move on now because I feel awkward. What's up, and greetings from the Czech Republic. Hey,
Sup, dude?
We need to trade Mike C, Rudy G, Malik B. Get what we can for them by the trade deadline. I think Rudy Gay and Mike Conley will be traded. I think Malik Beasley could be traded. I just think he's got a lot of value to you. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, those three guys, you're not wrong, Czech Republic. You're not wrong at all. At all. I think that those three guys have tremendous value. I agree with that at all. Mark Hale says, morning, and no, the Jazz should not trade for Westbrook. Teddy Wayman says, morning, guys. What's up?
What's up,
How
Teddy?
are you, Teddy? Good to see you, friend. Tony says, what about the elephant in the room? Next year's draft pick is only top 10 protected. Do we suck or go hard next year? Well, and we were having this exact conversation last night as we were dozing off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
As we were preparing for the show yesterday, we were talking about the fact that the Jazz picks are not great. The Jazz draft picks this coming season, I mean, you don't feel good about where you are. I mean, you have your own pick, but now if they're, I mean, this is at this moment today, 4 games into the season, this is a play-in team, in my opinion. This is a 7, 8, 9, 10 team. That's not a tremendous draft pick, right? And if you look at the picks that they have coming up, it's not as though the Utah Jazz have all these huge, picks and, hey, this is going to be amazing, and
yeah,
because you really don't.
Yeah,
you know
well,
what
I
mean?
I think that it's been packaged like, hey, Danny's got a war chest of picks, and he does have a lot of picks. That is true. I think the struggle is that, like if we go back to the Don trade and really the Rudy trade, and I guess you can bunch in the Royce trade, like he got picks in all those trades that have a variety of different value. The problem is I feel like, and this is what a lot of people asked on the show yesterday, like, why did you trade Don if you're, if you're, not going to get your best picks back? And I think that, you look at this and obviously they have their own pick. They've got the, Timberwolves unprotected pick, and
but
then
what is that pick worth? The Minnesota Timberwolves are probably a top 5 team in the West.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. My whole point here is that Danny Ainge clearly has got a process, right? So Danny Ainge understands, all right, I need options, I need flexibility, I need to at a minimum have, damn near 20 picks to work with here of differing values and whatnot. And the point is that, yeah, there are a lot of these picks that are not real high value. That is true. But what I think Danny wants to do, and again, this is just my opinion, I'm not saying we have info on this, but what I think he wants to do is he wants to use those picks, and based on how they do this season, he's going to leverage those picks to make trades. That's what I think ultimately they want to do. Are they going to draft guys? Yes, of course they're going to draft guys. But I think they're going to make their hay through the trade market and potentially through buyout guys.
I would agree with that.
Or, obviously restricted free agency.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think the other issue is that Royce O'Neal draft pick means that they get the least favorable pick between Brooklyn, the Sixers, and the Rockets. So you're not getting the Rockets pick because that would be the best of the bunch. So you're probably going to wind up with the Sixers or the Nets pick, and they're probably top 3 in the East.
Yeah.
So, that's why I said, like, all this tanking stuff, like, your best pick is probably your own pick, and this is not the worst team in the conference, not even close. I mean, the Lakers are 0-3 right now. And they're not going to get better with this current group. Like, I don't know how else to say that you're not tanking and you're not in a position, even if you do tank, to get that number 1 pick. I think it's a pipe dream. And this was my concern with trading Donovan Mitchell, is that trade did not net you some kind of amazing draft pick. And the Rudy trade is as good as it was. I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves unprotected pick, how valuable is that? It's not that valuable.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to rain on people's parades, but it's not that valuable.
But I think there's a certain value in just how many options he does have. Like, I'm with you that, yeah, they're not, like, super valuable, but at least you have options. And I think that is, like, we can't forget where Danny came from. I mean, Danny Ainge walked in the building and had no picks, was paying luxury tax, and was strapped with contracts. And now you have a ton of picks of probably not great value, but at least you have picks now. You have a ton of flexibility in the financials, so you are in a better spot. Make no mistake about it. Now, where I agree with you is, yeah, as part of all these trades you made, would you have liked to have gotten some top 10 picks and some really lucrative draft capital, like draft capital that could really make a difference for you? Absolutely, of course.
Yeah.
Like, yes, but I think, there's a certain gray area and a certain line that you got to kind of walk when you're trading these guys. They're, again, as we said 100 times during that trading process or season, if you will, they weren't in a position to dictate to other teams.
No, and I think, let's not get this twisted. Danny made great trades.
Yeah.
But as you hang on to these picks and as time goes on, the value of those picks is going to go down.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this coming trade deadline is just so flippin' important. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that Danny Ainge have a good trade deadline this coming time around, because they're not trying to get to the top of the draft. I mean, anybody that's in the first round of this upcoming draft is going to get a good player.
Yeah.
But you really need to trade for a superstar, and you need to set yourself up to do that at this coming deadline. And then in the summer, you need to go and trade for a superstar.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost you a lot of money. And again, not for nothing, I just ask, why'd you trade Donovan Mitchell? Because you would be a 5, 6, 7 team right now, if you didn't make the Donovan Mitchell trade. So you just ask yourself, hey, you're going to have to go out and replace this guy now. Because that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
If the Jazz are going to go out and they're going to make deals, you're doing that to replace Donovan Mitchell. There's no doubt about that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I had an issue with the Cleveland deal for Don.
Yes.
Because what really did you get back? I mean, we had some epic debate yesterday about whether Conley should start or Sexton should start. And, obviously you're in the camp that Mike Conley's the better point guard and the guy who should start, which inherently then means that Donnie trade was not a great trade for immediate impact now. And so, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily believe Colin Sexton has Donovan Mitchell top end. I don't think that he does. I think he's got, an all-star appearance or two in his career top end. I don't think that he's Donovan Mitchell level player at his best. And so to me, it's like, all right, cool, you didn't do the Knicks deal, but you did the Cavs deal, and you didn't really get too much back. So for me, when I look forward with this team, I'm like, yeah, great. We're 3-1. We got off to this great start for a team that people expected to be just absolutely awful. Like, there are a lot of positives around this team right now, 100%. But when I look at what's coming in the processes that are going to play out in the front office, it does feel like there's a bit of a dark cloud. I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I think it's whether it's the draft capital thing, whether it's the question of why you actually even traded Donovan Mitchell, like whether you look at this Westbrook situation, like it's not great. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Danny still has his work cut out for him. He's got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting just trying to figure out how all this will play out and trying to figure out, like, what's the right thing to do here? Because I don't know that you are fully aware and capable of doing the right thing. That's a huge question mark, because I don't know. And when I say that, what I mean is I don't know that the Utah Jazz are in position to do the right thing. The right thing is to do nothing until the trade deadline, right? But there's a lot of pressure to leverage these picks. Now, the conversations that Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge are having, none of us are privy to those. But I don't think there's any doubt this All-Star game brings a lot more pressure and vision. The fact that the Utah Jazz in an All-Star year are not on national TV, not one single time now, is a problem. I think the fact that you don't have a clear-cut All-Star on this team, and this goes back to the conversation you and I have had 100 times, Jake. Why is Jordan Clarkson starting? I think Jordan Clarkson is starting for the simple reason that it gives him the best chance to make an All-Star team. And I still don't think he's an all-star. That's just my opinion. I think your best bet at an all-star is Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting that these are the conversations we're having right now.
Yeah, and I think that Jordan Clarkson is definitely a trade asset. There's no question about it. Like, I think that, whether it's him or Conley, or any of the guys you got in the Timberwolves deal, like, I think, those, like, you have assets here. That's what I'm saying. Like, the rebuilding is very different than tanking. Like, tanking is easy. You can just throw some guys out there who are not capable of winning games and go about your business, right? Come into the office, have a cup of coffee, leave, because you know that the boys in Oklahoma City are going to lose tonight. You know that, right? But that's not what this team is doing. And that's what I'm saying. It's very clear to me that they're not tanking. It's very clear to me that, that's just not the mission. The mission is to be competitive.
That I would agree with.
Hopefully place an all-star. And then next offseason, like this coming offseason, you're going to make moves. And you're going to continue to manipulate and massage this roster so that you can then become, I would hope, like, let's say you're a 30-win team. Let's hope you add 5 to 7 wins to that next year. Maybe even 10 wins to that next year. Maybe.
Yep. And my Monty fan says, I agree with you, Jake. The picks we own will be used to make trades to reshape the roster and get a higher draft pick. Hullabilly says, totally agree, Jake. I think those picks are more trade assets than anything. RRR. Like, it's just 2 R's space R. RRR. Okay. Anyone considering Victor Wembanyama's injury problems and switching this year out of EuroLeague to play just 1 game a week? I think that's a huge issue.
Yeah, no one's talking about it.
We've talked about it extensively on this show. I think when you're that big and you weigh that little and you have, he quite possibly, his
what do you bench?
Chopsticks are bigger than his legs. I don't know what's as small as VW's legs, but he's an injury-prone guy, but he's also growing into his body as well. So we'll see. Somebody asked me if he's really just a kid, and yeah, he's really just a kid. I don't play the age game. I really don't. Jeremy Severe says the real value in picks are after 2025, and that's only right now because we got to wait and see what happens with the CBA.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's great that you have all these picks, but what's the roadmap for getting the talent through the draft or through trades? That's what's questionable.
Yep. NY Monty fan says, yeah, I am not 100% sold on Wemby. Logically, you can't be. Exactly right. Exactly right. Logically, how can you be?
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Yeah, how can you be?
Like, I think there's a track record of guys like okay, generally speaking, rookies coming into the league through the draft get hurt. Like we know that.
Do.
Like Lonzo got hurt, Zion got hurt. Like Book went through his fair share of injuries. Like, yeah, Zion. Yeah, so I think.
Did you say Zion? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I'll just be over here.
But I think but Zion's a great example. Like, Zion's a guy who, obviously, all jokes aside, he was overweight, but somebody who people believe in because of the way he's built. He's a very thick power, post guy that you can work off of. Like, these guys, like the VWs, like my guy Chet, like, I love their game, but I don't trust that they can handle the physicality in the league, bro. Like the Chet LeBron incident might be the best example of what I'm talking about. That was at a Pro-Am. LeBron's going like half speed, and Chet gets the foot injury just off that play.
Yeah, off of a shoulder bump.
Like, it wasn't like it's not like he took a charge. It's not like he had some super physical fall. Like, he didn't get Grayson Allen. Like, you just were playing casual defense and got hurt.
See, an NY Monty fan brings up Sam Bowie, Greg Oden, and Markelle Fultz. Markelle Fultz has still never played in this league, really. That's
he had one short run with Orlando.
Yeah, one major injury to any of the teams we have picks from can change the whole equation. Yeah, but you're counting on that. Yeah. Cody Strickland says, how does the Nets pick work? The one we got for Royce, because looking like the Nets pick will be a good one. I don't think the Nets pick is going to be a good one.
I think he's being facetious.
Probably.
Yeah.
Holabilly says, the more I think about it, I feel Danny just didn't believe in Don, which I don't agree with, but oh well. Well, I mean,
It could be.
I think there's definitely part of it. I think there was a relationship breakdown. I've heard this more than once now, that Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz had a really good open line of communication, and then they didn't. And I do think that Don was aware, and I know he said this to the contrary, but I think Don was aware that they were going to trade Rudy Gobert. And I think Donovan Mitchell was really worried, and this is what I think changed. I think Donovan Mitchell was really worried about being the scapegoat. Donovan Mitchell didn't want to carry the load in Utah, and when it didn't work out, he didn't want to carry the blame either. And I think that's why things soured, because I think Don got scared. If I'm being totally honest with you, I think Don got scared because he knew to a man, I have been told by a million different, it must be half a dozen different sources within the Jazz, within the league, close to Donovan Mitchell, like almost right next to Donovan Mitchell. I've been told by Rudy Gobert's people, Donovan Mitchell was aware that trade was coming. He knew what they were doing. He knew what they were attempting to do. They had told him they wanted to remake the roster around him. And I think Don got scared. That's the only thing that makes logical sense.
Facts.
Scared of expectation or scared
I
in
think
what way?
scared that they were not going to win if they built this team around him. And maybe some of this is belief, because I know factually as well that Don doesn't believe that this organization was built to win. And I think there was some concern about that. He didn't believe in what they were doing. But I think he got cold feet about being the guy in Utah. I think he doesn't mind being the guy in Cleveland. I don't think he would have minded being the guy in New York.
So you think it's a city issue? You think it's a market issue?
I think it's an expectation, and I think it's a failure issue. Donovan Mitchell's never failed. Donovan Mitchell has never, and this is a really hard fact that athletes have to deal with. Most guys never fail until they make it to the big time. And Donovan Mitchell still to this day has never really failed, because he certainly didn't fail here. He's not the reason they lost. I think Donovan Mitchell isn't ready to be that guy yet. He's not ready to be the alpha that is the reason teams win and lose.
Yeah.
I just think.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I think, and maybe that's why this season is different for him. I mean, obviously, again, very small sample size, right? Needs to be said, but he's living up to what you expected out of him, which was, 30 plus a night, on average, and facilitating and making plays and playing defense. And I think it's very interesting. And that's why I say, like, with the NBA, time will tell. I have always used for years the 20 game benchmark. If at 20 games you're putting up the numbers that we expect you to, you should be able to do it for most of the season, because 20 games in, now you're starting to feel a little fatigue in your legs. You're starting to you start to feel the impact of playing basketball like every day or every other day. I mean, that's just how it works in life.
And look, I don't necessarily think it was a mistake to trade Donovan Mitchell. I would not have traded him. I would not have. I think they got a tremendous haul for him. I think it's one of the few trades that we've seen in recent years that right out of the gate has been a win-win for everybody. I don't think there's any doubt that Markkanen and Sexton have been a really good add for this team. And very clearly, just go look at the numbers, and I've watched every one of their games so far. Donovan Mitchell looks like a new, better form of Donovan Mitchell. I mean, his mid-range game is back. He's shooting the ball really well. He's just really good. It's worked out for Cleveland. It's worked out for the Jazz. I just don't think I would have made that trade. I don't, because all you're going to do here is replace Don. So, I mean, and again, we don't have to agree with it. We're just talk show hosts.
Yeah, I think that, look, I think that it's tough, because I think Don is, I'm not sitting here saying he's the greatest Jazz man of all time, but I do think he's one of the most talented guys the Jazz have ever had in the history of the organization. I think talent-wise, top-end-wise, what he's capable of doing And I think the tough part is that's all fine and dandy that he's talented, but if he doesn't believe in the organization and he doesn't want to be in the city, then it is. I mean, that's just the end of it.
Yep. Ed Kiley says, let's see how Agbaji develops. Yeah, he's one of the guys I'm surprised we haven't seen a little more of.
It's not good that he's not playing when, it's not good that he's not able to get ahead of like guys like Walker Kessler or, some of those young guys. That's not a good sign.
BB says, hi, yes, tank. We all know I want Victor. Yeah, I know you do. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people do. Travis Berg, good morning to you. He says, there's a reason that 5 Jazz players are living in hotels. There's a reason why Jordan Clarkson's house is on the market. Maybe. We'll see. Kenai Johnson said, did the Jazz rebuild or did they just reload is my question. Yeah. And I think as we talk about the biggest stories in sports, thanks to our friends at Quick Quack Car Wash, make sure you stop by Quick Quack Car Wash and tell them you heard it on the Monty Show. But take note, man, because
see what he did there? Take note, and it's the Utah Jazz, and that's like their hashtag now that they got it back from Apple, and
But notice that you move through the line very quickly at Quick Quack Car Wash. We'll be there today, in fact, because I have to get a car wash today. But you'll note that the line goes by very quickly. The people are friendly. That's the biggest thing at Quick Quack Car Wash is that the people who work there are friendly.
Yeah.
And there are so many car washes where the people won't look at you or they don't really talk to you. I love the fact that when you roll up to Quick Quack, you actually talk to somebody. You don't talk to a machine or a box. You actually talk to somebody. And they're friendly. They're super nice. It's super fast. It's super fun. I love going to Quick Quack. So should you. They bring us the biggest stories in sports. And I do think this Russell Westbrook Lakers situation, I don't think he comes to the Lakers. I think ultimately he ends up in Indiana. That's my guess. And I think the Lakers wind up with a package of players from Indiana, which I think makes a lot of sense. But I think the Jazz are in a really good position, and I think pleasantly surprised is the word that I would use about the production they've gotten. So I think in the grand scheme of things, this game with Houston tonight, how many people are looking forward to the Houston Rockets tonight? Because I certainly am.
You should be.
I certainly am. Travis Bird also says we are winning the lottery. Then we're using the draft picks to get stars.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to win the lottery. Red Hart Norvis, good morning to you. What are your thoughts if OKC land Wembanyama playing with Holmgren and Giddey all healthy? Well, I mean, you're really good. You're really good. The problem is I don't believe that Oklahoma City should be able to tank like they're tanking. I mean, what's the point of doing what you're doing? I don't understand what the mission in Oklahoma City is because you've tanked and you wind up with Chet and you still suck and you're still tanking. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's probably a money play, honestly. Not wanting to pay guys or whatever. I mean, that's a whole conversation on its own, honestly.
BB says, don't tank, but if we trade Conley and some others and make us lose, then I'm okay with that. And I think ultimately that's what happens in the second half, depending on how well this team continues to perform. Joe Parker says, you guys are full of chit. CHIT.
I think he probably meant to say Chet.
No. You guys are full of chit. Rookies get injured every year. Of course, they're more susceptible to getting hurt. Well, what does that mean?
Yeah, but what's your point?
Yeah, what's your point in that?
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell told me as a rookie he wanted to bring a championship to Utah, and play for the Knicks before his career was over. I have it on video. Well, I think he said that a lot. Ruff's official, good morning. He says, LOL, they blame Utah and praise Don. Who's they? You mean us? Who's blaming Utah? I mean, nobody's blaming. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Let's see. Q Sam. Kawhi has degenerative knee already 2 games and load managing. It's not looking good, bro. I think they're smart because the Clippers are really good with or without Kawhi now. I think John Wall has been one of the stories of the start of the season.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers are the best team in the West, although my guy, Devin Booker last night.
You're a casual.
No, I'm not a casual. That's my dude. We are forever destined to be together. That feels awkward. Anyway, he's amazing.
Yeah, he was pretty good last night.
Did you say pretty good last night?
Yeah, pretty good.
Okay. Why are you being a hater today?
I'm not being a hater.
Are you mad at me for something?
No,
why are you?
I'm not being a hater.
Do not speak about my homie like that. Do
Sorry
not.
if you're offended by that.
Do not. That is my soul brother. Do not speak about it.
Brother.
I am a big fan. I am. Uncle Jimmy says the Lakers will get VW. That would be amazing. Don't say that out loud. Don't say that out loud. Don't do it. Let's see. Mesh says this current Nets team is mediocre. Yes, they are.
Yep.
And it's frustrating. 7 through 9, no size and physicality. Unless they make a trade, that pick is looking good. What do we think the Nets are? I mean, are the Nets mediocre? Yes,
Yeah,
now they are.
I think they're mediocre right now, and I think it's mostly because Ben is still trying to find his game. I think
Wait,
that
had a year and a half off.
Yeah, like I think, and this is kind of what I was speaking on before. I think it was last week we talked about the Nets a lot. Like they're not just going to roll in to this season and be championship good. Like they're gonna struggle a little bit to find that chemistry and find the flow of the game. And like Ben Simmons is going to have to understand that. That wasn't a foul on John Morant, but in that situation, in that moment in the game, you probably shouldn't be doing what you were doing right then and there. Right?
And it's not a foul at all.
It's not a foul at all. But again, that's not how the league is officiating.
So wait.
What I'm saying
Do you think he played that wrong?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to guys like John Morant, speed guys who are really quick and can get by you, when you're trying to play like really tight defense on them, yeah, in the NBA, it's pretty good odds that you're going to get a foul called on you. I agree, it wasn't a foul. I thought it was good defense, 100%. But we know how they call the league. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
I would agree.
Like, you have to, like, Ben needs to figure out how not to foul out of games and how to choose his battles better. And the only way you do that is by playing more basketball.
Because I actually think he's been better.
Yeah.
He's been better than I thought he would be. I mean, he's never going to be – I still don't understand why he shoots left-handed. I don't get it. He is still an amazing defensive player.
Yeah.
And he is still an amazing fast break distributing point guard. There's no doubt about that. He makes them better, but – yeah. Mark Hale says, what happens if you get into an accident at Quick Quack Car Wash? Which sponsor will you support? Well, I don't know. You would have to tell me the situation. He's trying to play like the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com.
Right.
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 San Diego State Aztecs says, go Suns.